Hey guys, this is our last part of our first lesson on Julius Caesar. And again, our whole purpose is to learn how Shakespeare uses elements of drama. We're doing this through analyzing a variety of text. And when we talk about text, we don't just mean words. We can mean movie posters, which is what we're going to look at here in a second. We're trying to gain different perspectives by reading across a variety of text formats and mediums. So right now, our learning target is to analyze various accounts of a subject told in different mediums to determine which details are emphasized in each account. So as I said, before we get started with the actual text, we're going to take a look at a couple of movie posters. Okay, I will be showing some clips from the 1970 version of Julius Caesar, and these films basically take that script and they make it into a film. So they are a little bit different than what you would see on the stage in terms of the drama, but they do use the script. So this is the 1953 version of Julius Caesar. You will see here a very young Marlon Brando right here. He plays the role of Mark Antony. And Julius Caesar is actually way down over here. Okay, that's supposed to be Julius Caesar. And over here you can see Brutus and Portia. Remember, Brutus is one of Caesar's close friends who betrays him. Over here is Cassius. He's the ringleader of the whole conspiracy. Here is Calpurnia, that's Caesar's wife, and over here is Casca, another one of the conspirators. So that's who they chose to put on a movie poster. And what I want you to think about right now is who is emphasized. So I'm going to pause right here, and I want you to think about that. Okay, so obviously, as you can see here, we have Mark Antony as emphasized. Brutus and Portia are also emphasized. These three have a little bit more prominence on the movie poster. And so now the next question is, well, what actions or emotions do you notice and why? Why would they make those three characters a little bit more prominent? What do you notice? Let's go ahead and take a moment and answer that question. So what you should notice here is power. Mark Antony is towering above the rest of the characters. Okay, everyone else gets a portrait of themselves, basically from the waist up or so. But Mark Antony almost gets the full-length photo of him. Okay, he looks kind of militaristic, not wearing a shirt, shows his muscles and so forth. That shows power. We also see romance between Portia and Brutus. We see hatred in the scowl of Cassius and how he's looking kind of up. Antony, of course, will rule the day at the end of this play. He and Octavius defeat Brutus and Cassius in the Battle of Philippi, and that's a big reason why, even though this is called the Tragedy of Julius Caesar, Antony rules the day. It's kind of odd that Shakespeare would almost call it that. But he wants to focus again on the people and how the people didn't have a ruler after Queen Elizabeth would die. Same thing here in Rome. After Julius Caesar died, there wasn't an heir, and so they had to fight for that power. The next question is, what can you predict about the drama? Let's take a moment, think about that, answer that. So obviously you can see, well, Mark Antony will have a major role and Caesar will not. That's one major prediction. Brutus and Portia, are husband and wife. There might be a little bit of a love story. You might predict that as well. All right, let's take a look at the next poster. This is from the 1970 version of Julius Caesar. This is the one I'm going to show you clips from. You can see the movie poster is a little bit different. They do have the kind of the cast of characters here. They're trying, again, to promote the movie poster. That's what a movie poster is to do, right? It's to persuade you to buy tickets, okay? And so Julius Caesar is right here. That was Jason Robards, I believe, plays. No, Jason Robards actually is Brutus. I forget who played Caesar. It's not somebody I recognize, but Charlton Heston you might recognize from, he played Moses in the Ten Commandments. And very famous actor. He plays Antony. So this is supposed to be Mark Antony right here as well. Okay, and then you can notice here's Caesar and all the assassins. So first question, of course, is, well, how is this poster different? Take a moment and answer that question. Of course, you can see here there's a greater emphasis on Mark Antony and Caesar. They're both more prominent on the movie poster. They're the only two characters that are very large. And again, you see Caesar kind of in the background, right up against Mark Antony, showing you the close-knit relationship that they have. And of course, you see Antony overpowering everyone, kind of overpowering the death of Caesar. Caesar bludgeoned to death here. They're showing that action. So there's a greater emphasis on Caesar's fall, greater emphasis on the militaristic aspect of the film. It really caters more to the male audience, whereas the previous poster, all right, if we look back here, caters a little bit more to a variety of people because it's showing you a love story that may cater more to a female audience. Okay, this one is much more militaristic, more gruesome. There's no romance shown. You see some female characters, but you don't see any evidence of there being romance. So that showed us how various accounts can be told in different mediums, showing which are emphasized and which are not. Now we're going to move forward here, and we're going to think about the different characteristics that distinguish narrative, poetry, and drama, and also continue to think about how an author draws on different topics from that source material as we start reading Julius Caesar. One of the questions you want to think about throughout this drama is who is honorable. Honor is good. Honor is having high morals, high quality. People with honor have good character, have high morals, are admired and respected. People that are ambitious, ambition can be a good thing depending upon what that desire is. Ambition is you have a goal, you're striving for it, you want to achieve something. You want fame. You might have an ambition for honor. If you had an ambition to cure cancer, that is a very honorable ambition. But some ambitions can be dishonorable. And so you want to be thinking about that throughout this play. Who is honorable and who is ambitious? Those are two motifs that continue to come up throughout the play. So we need to remember that Shakespeare uses drama to warn the audience of what could happen to them if Queen Elizabeth I dies in England. So you need to understand that the context of when he wrote this, all right, versus what actually happens in the play, they're connected. He chose this story to warn the people that, hey, if Queen Elizabeth dies, there could be civil war, just like what happened in ancient Rome. When Caesar was assassinated, they had a civil war. And we need to remember he chooses drama because it engages the entire nation, the poor and the rich alike, provides a massive audience for the playwright's agenda. Everyone could get this message. You didn't have to be able to read. You didn't have to be rich enough to buy a book. Okay. So if you want to use your textbook, you're more than welcome to. If you have it, it starts on pages 774, and you can see the cast of characters there on page 776. But what I want to show you is another website. All right. We're going to be taking a look here at who's for and against Caesar here in Act 1. That's what Act 1, what I would call it, because this is all about who likes Caesar and who doesn't. And you're going to see in the very first scene that comes together. And you're going to follow about the commoners, the plebeians, the common people, the regular average Joes. There's a carpenter and a cobbler. He fixes shoes. And you're going to see a couple of tribunes. Tribunes were these soldiers. And they're going to have different feelings about Caesar. But the big question is, why did Shakespeare start the whole play with these people? So you're going to go to the Act 1 study guide. And it's like this. Now, these are graphic organizers built for you. And what you're going to do is I'm giving you the summary of the play. It's telling you what is going on in each act, within each scene. Okay? You want to make sure you read that, guys. Okay? Because a lot of the answers to the questions at the end will be there. Your job as you read along is to provide the text evidence. Copy and paste. So at the top here is a link to something called My Shakespeare. And this is an app as well if you want to use the app version, although I think the website version may be easier to copy and paste. And the beauty of this is that it can read along for you. Okay, like you click right here, it'll read it for you. Over here on the right, it'll give you a discussion. All right, so if I click to open this, it'll kind of give me a discussion about these opening lines. If you have more questions about that, right here it gives you the historical background that it'll talk about the clothing laws and so forth. it can provide more context for you to help you better understand it. If you click on this icon, it'll actually decipher some of the lines into kind of a more regular, everyday English. All right. If you continue to scroll down, sometimes you will note that they will actually act it out for you. All the way down here, you can actually watch a performance of these lines. So that can be very helpful. I would encourage you to use it. You need it. I know that this is not always easy, but using this, it tells you, conquest. What conquest brings he home? What plunder? What loot? What treasure did he bring home? What tributaries? What prisoners follows him to Rome? And so forth. So I'm already telling you what is happening in each scene. Your job is to find the text evidence that connects to those little paraphrases that I'm giving. It's going to come all the way down. And there's even an interview if you want to understand a little bit more about that scene. Again, it gives you a video here, which can be helpful. So to use these things, you're going to come up here, click Act 1, Scene 2 to go to the next scene. Act 1 has 3 scenes. Okay, I don't want to belabor each act, so we're moving through them fairly quickly. Okay, so again, I would recommend that you use those tools. It has some questions here that you need to answer. The highlighted ones tend to be the ones that you're going to see on the test. Okay, why did Shakespeare start the play with commoners is the big question. You need to think about what we've talked about, and I will go over this in the next. We will go over all of this in the next lesson. Okay, there's a character analysis here because, again, the big question is who is for Caesar and who is against Caesar. So your job here is to identify which of these characters that you're going to interact with over the course of this act. Who's for Caesar, who's against Caesar. There is a character that we're really not sure about, and that leads us to the next act. You're going to identify the plot against Caesar. Why do they want to kill him? Who is the leader? Who are the followers? And then there are these comprehension questions followed by the text comparison, because that is our main goal in this whole unit. It's not so much for you to understand all the little details about Caesar, it's to compare it to other pieces of text. So you want to think about, well, why did Shakespeare use a play rather than a novel? How are they different? What are the advantages of the play versus the novel? So your job is to read Act 1, all of Act 1, and complete that for homework. Again, you can follow along. So our whole purpose was to gain different perspectives, to evaluate the advantages and disadvantages of presenting a topic through different mediums, to compare the characteristics that distinguish narrative poetry and drama. We'll discuss a little bit more of that in greater detail in the next lesson. Analyzing various accounts of the subject told in different mediums as we took a look at those posters, and understanding, well, why did Shakespeare come up with this? How did he come up with it? How did he write it? What did he draw on to transform those themes? All right, I will see you tomorrow.